I think that the most exciting medical finding for me in my life, in terms of the endocannabinoid system, was the reality in the early 90s that this system controls the endocrine system.
Which is what?
The
Tell us.
hormone system.
Okay.
Yes. And you wouldn't believe, I write about this in the book as well, you wouldn't believe how many medical conditions, like epilepsy, for instance, start with blood pressure, starts with a hormone.
What is the endocrine system? First of all, endo refers to inside. Crine means to secrete. The endocrine system regulates body activities in order to maintain homeostasis. We have many endocrine glands throughout our body, and they secrete hormones. Hormone means to urge or excite, and that is exactly what they do. Hormones control when an adolescent starts puberty and how they feel during the process. Hormones determine how you handle stress, how you react to an emergency, and every single mood that affects you. On top of all of that, hormones influence whether you feel hungry or full, how you use the food you eat, and whether or not you are fat or thin. There are two types of glands: exocrine glands and endocrine glands. Exocrine glands have ducts that secrete chemicals such as saliva or sweat. On the other hand, endocrine glands are ductless and they secrete hormones directly into the bloodstream. We will start with the hypothalamus, the master control gland in the brain. It is located in the forebrain, directly above the pituitary gland. The hypothalamus regulates hunger, thirst, sleep, wakefulness, and body temperature. The pituitary gland controls all other endocrine glands, and it influences growth, metabolism, and regeneration. Basically, controls cell growth. The parathyroid gland, there are 4 of them, and they are located behind the thyroid. They secrete the hormones necessary for calcium reabsorption. The parathyroid glands secrete PTH, parathyroid hormone, which controls the amount of calcium in the blood and bones. The thyroid glands regulate energy and metabolism. They secrete the thyroid hormone, T3 and T4, and calcitonin, which reduces calcium in the blood. The thymus helps build resistance to disease by allowing white blood cells to reproduce, mature, and fight infections. The pancreas aids in digestion of protein, fats, and carbohydrates. It produces the hormone insulin, which controls blood sugar levels. The adrenal glands are located on top of the kidneys, hence the name, adrenal meaning above kidneys. They control the fight or flight response. The adrenal glands release adrenaline and cortisol. It regulates metabolic processes, water balance, blood pressure, and many other things. The gonads influence sexual development. In females, the ovaries produce estrogen and progesterone. In males, the testes produce testosterone.
Okay.
So fascinating. So that was the first bit of science that was coming out of Israel, or Hebrew University, back in the early, like 1992. It was coming via the veterinary students. It wasn't published stuff even.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of disease is rooted in hormonal.
Yes. And that's why when they spray over us, all these chemtrails, all of the ingredients in there, in the pesticides, all of them is what we call endocrine disruptors. And this is where the sicknesses are coming from, especially these so-called autoimmunes. I don't believe that the human body attacks itself. I do not believe that our Creator designed us to attack ourselves on any level, including cellular. But I do believe that there's a massive immune response to toxins when it manifests in the same symptoms.
Sure, yeah.
So to answer your question earlier, the severe importance of the endocannabinoid system is the fact that it literally is the body's supercomputer. Because it doesn't only control the endocrine system, and that was massive. Man, guys, I can't even begin as a medical student, I can't begin to explain the excitement. It now turns out that it controls all of our physiological systems. And that's why I've written about the body in parts. So you can see it, how it affects the bones, the skeleton, the brain, the hormones, all of that. I mean, it's just unbelievable. How could they possibly keep this away from us?
Yeah, because it's
and we need cannabis in order to supplement. Because when, say now you've got a healthy cannabinoid system, everything's going great, and boom, all of a sudden they find a tumor. Okay, so inside of the body, the human THC and the human CBD, 2-AG and anandamide that I mentioned earlier, they start working straight away. They go to the site of injury where the tumor is, wherever it is in the body or the brain or the blood or bones or wherever. Okay, so it becomes depleted. Are you with me? Makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Those endocannabinoids are being depleted because they're working so hard to heal this. So you've got to supplement. It's very simple. It's that simple, actually.
Sure.
Especially when you're sick. I mean, I've done experiments and so many illegal human trials on this medicine of how the receptors work. So say now you stump your toe, you know, you can already see it swelling up and going blue. Put a little bit of oil on there. Within 7 minutes, you can't even remember that you kicked your toe. Why is it so instant and so effective? It's because of the way the receptors. So the minute something goes wrong in the body, I do it with my ladies with their headaches. Just put a little bit of oil there, or wherever the headache is. 7 minutes. How's the headache? They can't even remember that they put the oil on.
Oh, wow.
No high or anything like that. Yeah, it's really wild. So the receptors start working. So now you bump your elbow straight away. And you put the oil on straight away. It just starts healing it straight away. It's that simple.
And is that just straight hemp seed oil, or is that with a little bit of THC?
Yeah, there's always my medicine has always got a little bit of THC in it.
And other
More than what they say I'm allowed to have. So but still I work with minuscule doses, absolutely tiny. None of my patients have ever told me that they got high.
So do you work with other herbs as well to
Yes.
complement the cannabis?
I do. So like for cancer patients, for instance, I'll always add in, I'm going to take it. I'll always add in the kankerbosse, Sutherlandia frutescens.
And this right here is the very special plant called the Sutherlandia, or the normal names cancer bush, in Afrikaans kankerbos. It's also known as a bunch of different names, like the blaasertjie, or the blaasbossie, or the balloon pea, and that's due to these seed pods right here. It's also called the klapper in Afrikaans, because if you hit this and burst it, it will make a clap kind of sound. So the seeds are inside these seed pods. I'm not going to open it right now. You can see it also has these beautiful dark orange reddish flowers that comes out at this time of the year after the first rains. During the summertime, the bush will all but die and shrivel up, and you might not even notice it. And then when the rains start, the new green leaves will come out, and later on the flowers, and then also the seeds. And after this, when the summertime comes again, the plant will dry out. These seed pods will open, the seeds will disperse, and it will lie dormant in the veld until next year, when it might make a new little cancer bush plant here in the Karoo. So what's special about this plant? Well, this is one of the best medicinal plants in Africa, if not in the world, and there's a lot of research that supports this. So the reason why it's called cancer bush is because a lot of people use it to fight back at internal cancers. It also is a very good herb to use to strengthen the immune system, which is very good for this day and age in the pandemics. And it's also used for a wide variety of other things. Diabetes, you can use topical, you can use it topically for treating wounds, for bronchitis, for pains and aches, and for heartburn, indigestion. You can use it for hemorrhoids and piles, and a bunch of other different things. There's documentation of people using this going as far back as thousands of years when the Bushmen used this, and a lot of people in South Africa still use this to today for all these different things. So how exactly do you use this plant medicinally, right? So if you just want to use it to get a bit of energy, to feel a bit more open-minded, if you want to, you're walking in the veld, you can just pick a few of these leaves and just chew them. It has a bitterish taste, but not very unpleasant. But the best way would probably be to cut off the leaves. Remember, always leave the flowers and the seed pods so that it can grow again next year and make new plants. So just cut off a few of these leaves. Then you can let it dry, and then you can use it to make tea. You can also use it fresh as it is to make a tea. So how do you make a tea from the cancer bush? You take about a teaspoonful of leaves that's cut up into very small pieces, and you just add it to a liter of boiling water. Then you leave it for about 12 hours and your tea will be ready. Then you can also add a little bit of honey, maybe 1 or 2 teaspoons, just to take the bitterness away a little bit. And then you've got nice cancer bush tea. You can drink that about 3 times a day. Just a small half a cup. It'll be very good for strengthening the immune system and giving you more energy, and just helping for a whole bunch of different things.
That herb I also use for diabetes. Then we've got another herb I work a lot with is Wilde Als. You guys, Afrikaans people always say Wilde Als. Wilde Als.
Yeah.
It's an amazing herb, and that's the corona herb. That's the herb that we're actually struggling to harvest at the moment, because people, in those 2 years of lockdown, people found out about that herb. And, yeah.
So did they scab het dit 'n bietjie geryp in die?
Ja, het geryp. Ek wou nie daar glad you said it. Yeah, even at Bafkos Rasters, we've got, well, before I was registered as a doctor, we were only allowed to collect herbs in certain spots. So Wilde Als we used to always collect in Buffalo's Bay. Just past Knysna.
Okay.
There's a spot here. I won't say it too loud. Yeah, so
that's also
the
very
crops need
anti-cancer.
to grow again, but that medicine, everybody should have that in their little first aid box here.
This one is my herb. It's very good, you see. I was learn every day from the herbs. This one is for very good for the stomach, for the colds, for the flu. You can, how can I say, you can inhale him also, you see. I was also have the oil also about this one, you see, the oil is here. We have also the oil. The oil is like this wormwood, African wormwood, you see, wormwood. This one you take it, you smell him, it's opening your whole thing, so your slime in it, making open your whole heavens, you see. We grow up with the plant. The plant is ancient. The plant is the manaki, this plant.
The manaki?
Yeah, it's like an old plant with the elders and the people, they use it, this one. You see, they use it from old. When the stone feel cold, you feel flu, you say, Mama, don't you? They give you, bring the Wilde Als. I take the Wilde Als. Herbs is very natural, it's precious. It's come from Mother Nature, you see. That is why I walk barefoot. I respect nature, Mother Earth. You see, it's a nourishing, it's a sustainer to us. Even the Al is what teach me herb. He was teach me about creation.
And is this like these medicines aren't like traditionally available in retail spaces, eh?
You can, hey. Sometimes I get desperate and I have to go to a herbal shop and I can buy a bag of comfrey, a bag of Wilde Als. It's quite scarce, not many shops. Some Yaku's chemist there by the taxi rank, he's got some boxes of buchu and some
Oh, wow.
herbs. Some do, yeah. Some,
Okay.
you'd be surprised.
And you get the old rustus there on the side of the road. I saw that type
yes.
there.
Here in Plett, Brother Ruben and young Ruben China is at the taxi rank. Yeah,
Yes.
they're normally always at the taxi rank.
Yes.
And for viewers everywhere else in the country, wherever you see the sakmana, the brothers wearing the hessian, yeah, and they've of course got the sack of herbs, always try and stop them and ask them if you can get some herbs from them.
They bring the produce that they get from the mountains, the herbs that they gather, and they bring it to the cities because this is where the people are congested.
So people come to us, they say the doctors can't help them for high blood, low blood, for arthritis, herbs, garlic, red carrot, longwes, lambuza.
Just to support them along their way and to make sure that you have proper herbal medicine. Seriously, people should take herbs every day. Every day. We do in our families, kids, babies, everybody gets herbs. So it can be a mixture of all kinds of just dandelion that grows wild in your garden. Diamond, you feel You just pull those out, clean it, roots and all. That's your anti-cancer there as well.
Oh, wow.
If you study botany and you study the plants, my lecturers used to always say, humans are here, plants are here. It's just absolutely insane the way they work and the healing that you can achieve with zero side effects. Yeah. It's unreal.
You don't have to go and...
So I've been working with herbs since I was a young girl, and I did go and start studying medicine in the hospitals, and it was really not a good experience for at all. I can remember my first day of nursing. Can I tell you the story?
Yeah, of course, please do.
So I started at Groote Hospital my very first day, and I planned this like most of my life because I felt like I had the cure for cancer in the palm of my hand, and nobody wanted to listen to me. And I just couldn't understand it. So I had this hand-drawn picture of the brain, and I went into the neurology in my crisp new, brand new white nurse uniform. And I went in there, and I was quite full of fire those days. I put the picture down on the table, like in the surgery, and asked them, where's the THC receptors? Please show me on this picture where are they located. Because the teachers used to talk about the THC receptors because, like I said, it's only THC that binds in there. So these brain surgeons, they literally chased me like the dog, and shouted, I don't know what you're talking about, get out of here. Well, it was so bad. I was so upset because I just couldn't understand why they wouldn't listen to me, because they're the brain doctors.
Exactly, yeah.
They were 2 neurosurgeons actually, so they know even more than the neurologists. So yeah, and it just carried on like that. I spent 6 months at the Red Cross Children's Memorial Hospital, tiny little babies having open heart surgery in the palm of your hand, and
Yeah.
we could have cured them just with a little bit of water.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like I just couldn't carry on with the system and those meds that are so dangerous. I deal a lot with people with pharmaceutical trauma from side effects. It's so bad. It's
Big thing for me as well. It's a very controversial topic, but it might make some people angry about the chemotherapy debacle, that people have to spend so much money and entrust their money in a process that is actually killing the cells in the body.
Yeah.
where they can
Chemo kills.
plant natural.
They are forced by their medical aids even. They have to, they just got to do it. Just do it. So I also don't want to really get into that because it's heavy, controversial. And imagine me as a herbalist having cured myself from cancer, not once or twice, but 3 times actually, because it does come back. If you don't take care of yourself, it comes back. You know what I mean? It doesn't go away forever.
Exactly. So we'll just leave that as a seed for our viewers out there. We won't go deep into.
But what I do want to say, as I said earlier as well, it's absolutely amazing what the plant offers as protection for people who do go the chemo route.
In 2014, Al Jazeera filmed Daniel Haslam. Suffering from bowel cancer, his medicines made him too sick to eat. Only one thing relieved his nausea: marijuana. At the time, the only way he could get it was illegally. A dealer sent it in the post.
And to all those people that don't think I've tried everything, I have. I wouldn't be on this square. This is the last square I wanted to be on. I've tried everything. Cannabis works.
In part because of pressure from patients like Haslam, several state governments in Australia have begun relaxing the rules surrounding the use of medicinal marijuana. The New South Wales government is running separate trials on the treatment of childhood epilepsy, terminal illnesses, and now the severe nausea caused by the chemotherapy used to treat cancer.
It's a really exciting trial. It's actually going to be the largest trial in the world of medical cannabis for this problem of preventing nausea due to chemotherapy, and we're using a novel type of cannabis that we really hope will be well tolerated by patients.
Matilda Kabani-Dean wants to be on the trial. Her studies as a fine arts student were put on hold when she was diagnosed with rhabdomyosarcoma, a rare form of cancer.
There's one drug that I can't really leave the house for a week because I'm vomiting the whole time. And yeah, that's pretty traumatic. It's not very pleasant.
80 patients are on the trial. If they respond well, a 250 patient study will be carried out. Daniel Haslam died just months after this interview. His legacy may be better treatment for others. Andrew Thomas, Al Jazeera, Sydney.
Time to celebrate on a day Joy Smith never expected to see. Once told her cancer was terminal, now her medical team say she's clear, and she says it's thanks to this, cannabis oil.
I went to see my consultant, and she said that there was nothing left to see. She was quite happy to take me off my treatment. I just couldn't believe it when I came out. I was just so excited. I kept pinching myself all day. It was just, is it real? I couldn't believe it, and I'm still here, and I feel really well.
Joy, who's from Charlesmore in Coventry, underwent extensive chemotherapy and says she can't thank the team at Walsgrave Hospital enough for their care. But when all looked bleak, a friend suggested she tried cannabis oil.
At first I wouldn't take it, and my daughter kept, have you had your oil, Mum? And I'd pretend I had, but I hadn't, because I just hated the taste. I didn't like the feeling of it. It makes you giggly and a bit like you're drunk really, but funny. I just laughed at everything, but I didn't like it.
There's growing evidence online of the benefits of cannabis oil. The issue was brought sharply into focus just yesterday when a mother from Northern Ireland had her supply of oil confiscated at Heathrow Airport. She tried to bring it into the UK, insisting it's the only solution to help her son, who has multiple epileptic fits. We've also highlighted the story of Alfie Dingley from Kenilworth, who also has a rare form of epilepsy. After successful cannabis oil treatment in the Netherlands, the Home Office agreed here he could use it on compassionate grounds. But many doctors remain sceptical.
A new study has examined that marijuana can kill cancer cells and even shrink brain tumors. The study by the National Institute of Drug Abuse (NIDA), funded by the US government, showed extracts from the plant can help enhance the impact of radiation therapy, the Mirror reported. According to the reports, recent animal studies have shown that marijuana can kill certain cancer cells and reduce the size of others, and evidence from one animal study suggested that extracts from whole plant marijuana can shrink one of the most serious types of brain tumors. Research in mice showed that these extracts, when used with radiation, increase the cancer-killing effects of the radiation.
I've got so many cases like that. I help people all the time going through chemo, and I never once say to people, you know, this is going to kill you or whatever. I'm never going to do that because I'm not that type of healer, because you're going to heal yourself anyway.
Yeah.
Yourself. I'm just holding that little space there for you and passing the herbs on. So people mustn't be scared of chemo, and I really just don't want people to be living in fear, because that's exactly what feeds the CA. I don't even like to use that word, I call it CA.
Yeah.
Well, that's how we used to call it in medical schools.
Yeah.
So, you know, we don't want to feed all of those things, and
No.
I just don't want people, I want people to know that they can still do the chemo and get the protection. You know, what we feel personally doesn't really matter.
So I'm just gonna go back to our list of questions, and gonna go like slightly off the medical route here now.
Yeah.
I know that's your life and your journey, but the next question here you basically just answered, because that is, can you tell us more about your journey with cannabis and where did it all start for you? So I think let's start with that. Like, tell us about like your first experience with cannabis. Like when?
Gosh. I can tell you that I was working with the plant as a healer long before I had my first joint.
Oh,
Because
wow.
you see, in Rastafari, things aren't really as airy as they all look. You know, we're not sitting there smoking bong after bong with the brothers. It's not like that. In fact, in a lot of really strict Rasta communities, you can't even smoke the same pipe as your husband.
Oh, wow.
It's very strict, very Old Testament and things like that, you know. So for me personally, my teacher came, I was 9 years old. So by the time I was 12 years old, he told me that I'd risen and I can move on now to the next stage. And the next stage was working with the plant. So from age 9 to age 12, I didn't see the plant.
Okay.
Only heard about it. Heard a lot about it. So I was like a sponge, just like I couldn't believe my good fortune, because I knew that I had an ancestral calling from very small. It comes from very young. And as I say, in the 80s, it was really, really hard, because we were blessed in Simonstown, in the naval base where I grew up, because we had people of colour working right there in the dockyard, and that's how Brother Joseph came. Ooh, it's yours. That's how Brother Joseph came
There you go.
to be my teacher. Yeah. So from there, from the age of 12, I started working. I joined a multiracial social youth group.
Okay, and that was still in apartheid days.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was similar to, you guys might know the voortrekkers, eh? Voortrekkers.
Yeah.
I do. Okay, so this was like the English version of it, the Girl Guides, the Cubs and the Scouts,
Okay,
that
I
kind
see,
of
like
vibe.
a Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts.
But only the English side was multiracial, because it came from the UK and other Australian connections as well in that movement. And that was my ticket into the townships. So those days, places like Goobs and Khayelitsha and all of these places in the Western Cape where I went to school, there was not any form of primary health care at all. There were no clinics. It was bad. So we used to go in with my teachers. I went with my teachers with the herbs, and we would heal the people. And this is how I started learning how to work with ganja, asthma, dog bites, burns, cancer, anything. The queue was out the door all day. I mean,
Oh, wow.
yes, all kinds of skin conditions, all kinds of things. And so today, I know that cannabis is scientifically implicated in 678 medical conditions, including the corona. So that's why I like it when people ask me, do I work with other herbs? Because sometimes I think to myself, geez, I haven't pulled the herb crate out for a while. I'm just ganja. Because ganja works for basically everything.
Wow.
And I can give them 2 capsules to treat